the series Adolescence and the disturbing situation, I have three questions to that. I want to ask why and not only describe what's going on as most people would like to. So, why are we in this situation where we have this discussion about the serious adolescence and the very extreme reflections it is showing about the mind of adolescents and disturbing ways of acting. And the first question in my mind is why are these kids lonely? The second one is, has this something to do with the male female struggle and identity that is really trying to manifest itself? Thirdly, has this anything to do with the motherless society that we are living in? And fourth, uh, what has all this to do with the amount of exposure that our kids and youngsters are exposed to in these days? And also, does all this has something to do with the lack of safety, traditions, routines around the kids and around the teenagers? So life becomes much more difficult to understand or more to the extremes. And so trying to answer these questions is not easy at all. You need researchers, sociologists, you need people from all over the world trying to look into what has gone wrong and what is going wrong, since such a series like Adolescence can give 66 million viewers and a lot of comments from politicians and people around the world. And it actually reflects a worry in all of us as parents. And so, to the first question, this loneliness in these kids, why are they lonely when they are all the time doing something? And most of them are today also in places where they can be on social media and with others. This is a big question to answer. Where is that loneliness coming from? And in my opinion, we have to look deeper into the spirituality, existence, and philosophy of life that we are showering over our kids or lacking in showering over them. It's like something is deeply missing from their life, and so loneliness is just not a question of being alone, but a deeper question of who you really are in this universe and what makes sense to you, since we do not want our kids really to be part of anything. And if you want, many others don't want. And so it's the cool thing not to believe in anything and just turn around in the social constructivistic way that has really entered the scene with a great force. It's like a dissolution of identity. So this is my opinion that we should look in this direction. The second thing is what all this has to do with the fight between males and females, the sexes, because we have been living in a culture that's gone worldwide where girls and women, maybe for a long, long time, has not had all this amount of freedom, participation, emancipation, and place to be in society in a way that they like and they want, and follow their own dreams and take the jobs like the kids and so on, like the boys and the men and so on. And so, can this also have something to do with the deep reaction to this? We have to look in that direction as well. And what has this also to do with the hidden feelings and the instincts in the males, seeing themselves maybe in a womanish society, global womanish society? Everything that's going on has a woman and feminine mentality to it, and some places it's very masculine, of course, but maybe it's a reaction to some of these things that they cannot really get attached to the malehood they have in them. And so we have to send our researchers and sociologists look in that direction. What has this to do with their understanding of themselves as males? And maybe also when the female reacts, well, how does she understand herself, and why that kind of very hateful and shocking reaction to females, whether they are young or older? What is it that's triggering that deep fight between the sexes? The third question is if this has anything to do with the motherless societies. It's also related to the question about the woman emancipation and where it's going and has gone. Are we really gone so bad in our ways of dealing with the family that it has become so neglected that these new roots of family, that the kids does not really find themselves in any rooted place anymore, even though they have a rich father and a very dominating mother and outgoing, sorry, mother and a dominating family structure. Uh, that does not make sense. Is that really because we have left the motherless society go its own ways, that these kids well cannot find the roots they need to, traditions and safety and the same stability every day? Is it because these grown-ups are so self-occupied and indulging in hedony and affairs and all that they are interested in as well, they didn't reach to that level? Because before, when we were kids, we didn't have all this access, and maybe the riches weren't there, and now we have access to a lot of things, and we want also to indulge in that, and so maybe we get so self-occupied that that also leaves the kids in a situation that's very fragile. This is the third thing we should look in the directions of. And fourth, we should look in the direction of the extremes that's been shown, the exposure that our kids are exposed to, the things that they get online. This is a maybe 10-20 year old debate, how the media and internet, social media, and the effects of that directly into the kids' hands and brains and feeling, without any regulation and without the ability to react to it. I remember first time I saw a dead human or a dead animal, how I reacted to that. And so some are using this online as if it is something to gain voters on. It's like you want to gain as much followers as possible, and so you're willing to do extreme things to show people that you can do so. The same with the humor. It has gone so fragile, extreme, and sometimes disgusting in a ways I do not laugh anymore. I do not understand it and I cannot relate to it. It's like it's detached from the empathy. Should we look into that more, and how can we as a global society work together to contain all these issues in the name of freedom and freedom of release? Well, our kids are exposed to things maybe they biologically and mentally are not ready for. So how to protect? And you cannot just shelter. You cannot just take the phone out of his or her hands. It needs something more deep in the culture. And that's why you find that youngsters who become parents, they don't want their kids to be exposed to these things as we as parents are allowing our kids to be exposed to. And so we already have a generation that's reacting deeply to what they are exposed to, and they don't like it. They would like to have the peace we had when we were kids. A lot of things we didn't know, and we didn't need to know or see or watch or understand. And we needed to open our view to the world slowly, gradually, and not without this. But what can we do? How can we look in that direction and do something about it? And the last question, and I finish up with that, is how do these kids actually learn to adjust and get in touch with their feelings? Because these reactions comes also because of a kind of lack of understanding how to deal with feelings. It's like a psychopathic trait that suddenly appears, or maybe the fragility of the situation and the fear that comes up can make us, or comes like this adolescence series can make some people react. And so what has this that's going on to do with the feeling and how we adjust feelings and cultivate them, and the lack of that? And in that manner, we have also to look into, does this have anything to do with the lack of spirituality, the lack of a philosophy of life, a meaning in life? And what is that doing to the kids when everybody see it as a cool way that you do not have anything to be rooted in? And how can we act on that? Before we act, we need to understand, and we need to understand by asking why, and not only describe the situation and get shocked. And these are my 5 questions to put into this. And I don't know, I hope a lot of others have had the same questions, and some people from political and social institutions are already working on answers, but I'm not so sure, because they are part of the problem, these places that have let this happen in the first place. And taking the society in these directions is, well, societies and not one is a kind of a sign of that things have gone wrong already, and that we are headed in a wrong direction in our educational system, global culture system. Who is a girl, who is a boy, and what's the distinction between that, and maybe there's something wrong we have to look into there, but also the lack of what we call uh, meaning, deep-rooted meaning, traditions, understanding of people who who have a lot of feelings, and how they adjust them and use them is very important. Otherwise, you will sit with a lot of emotions. You don't know how to develop into feelings, and so it can go definitely wrong. As you can hear, I already have some picture of some answers, but it's also important to be questioning the situation, not already putting your answers down on it. This is another side of this, that we should not be in a hurry just to answer the questions as we think they should be, but maybe put it as a thesis or hypothesis and say, well, could this be related to that? And let's look into it and see what we can get out of questionnaires and interviews and collecting data, talking to people. It's very important not only to collect data, but also to have these profound and deep talks where people can open up about these inner situations. And so, yeah, well, the global times of the media rushing with us right and wrong, left and right, it's a big trouble ahead we have for our kids and adolescents and their kids. And and this show about adolescence has the series has really put it on the board that we have to do something. And I'm afraid that it's all the things most of the things we're gonna do in societies are very shallow. We are not really ready for these deep changes, and so that's why I'm asking these hopefully deeper questions.